also the new revenue impact. How much impact are you making on your sector? And then somebody upstream, downstream can really say that, okay, these guys don't have revenue. I have lots of revenues. Let's say media, right? A New York Times is much more, of a 100-year-old brand, or a Twitter. I'm sure, it's a few $1 billion which is in question. A lot of people can take them out. But so valuations are not that wrong. But at that, not for every discussion does it start saying, okay, I don't have a revenue model is something that maybe, doesn't work here. Most of the times you need to be showing where the money is going to be coming from.
And the purpose of this slide is not to talk any particular business per se, but idea is that whatever you're projecting, you have your assumptions right. Because the moment you show us, that my business would be, from 0 to 20 million in 3 years time, and this is the Excel sheet, aligning with your assumptions, and then there are flaws. So when we say good revenue model, you have your assumptions right, check on feasibility, whether it's a really, when I say high margin, can your business generate high margin or not? So your assumptions would, define all those stuff. Time will tell, whether it's doable or not, but at least have your assumptions right. So one of the case, we had a very beautiful Excel sheet where business was actually turning $100 million from zero. Because he says, the community in world is so big, and if I'm even able to capture 5% of that, I'm 100 million. So who can dispute with that? But is it really doable, Because that 100 million will call for it, at least, if I'm not wrong, 80 million of money going in, and you are starting with 1 million. So bells start ringing in my mind, is he talking something stupid? So you should have your assumptions, So you say about this 1 million takes me here, and this 1 million allows me to bring another 20 million, and then it's, at least your assumption should be right. I'll quickly touch base. I think it will help you guys if you are really taking to. Usually it helps if there are some referrals because it reduces your response time. It's not necessary that you don't get response if there are cold calls, but your cycle would be longer. Ideally, have referrals like attending this kind of conferences, workshop, you're meeting Krishna and Krishna referring you to somebody will always help because Krishna, I have seen you, we have a touch point. Keep your pitches short, The first pitch, in my opinion, should not be more than 6-7 slides. Now people are losing bandwidth to go to up to 20th slide. If I am interested in your 4 slides, I'll ask for 40 slides. But if you flood me with 40 slides, and I'm not able to understand, then I think value proposition is not there. So idea is that your 40 slide juice should be there in 4 slides. So be creative and try to communicate, what you have to communicate, be simple, and your problem definition should be very good. And if you get the opportunity to talk to somebody, I think answers quickly, don't be defensive. Most of the time I've seen, entrepreneur get jittery, Anil doesn't know shit, He's in a Pithalia kursi and is asking, questions. What knowledge he has, he is asking. Probably I'd ask him something. So don't get defensive, because we don't understand your business, We would like to understand, and if we understand, we would like to go forward. If you don't allow us to understand and you are defensive, you say, what do you know about my business, why don't you just write a check? I think in reality, only 2 persons can write those kind of check. One is your father, secondly is dad-in-law. So without that, nobody is going to write a check. So if you want professional money, if you want institutional money, allow them to understand your business. Be a good storyteller. If you make me understand simpler way, it's far better. I don't understand jargons, but would definitely connect if you make comfortable with my language.
So basically, see, I have a question to Vivek. Vivek, what kind of rate of returns that an investor would be looking forward from an IT company, considering the scenarios today? And what is the exit time that you guys look forward to? Is it 3 years or 5 years? Should I go for a 3-year plan? Or should I go for a 5-year plan? And in the after talking to, after listening so much, I'm thinking of just telling the rate of return first and let's go to the story after that. So this
So
is
how
what
would you know your rate of return?
Sorry?
How would you know your rate of return upfront?
How would I know? Because I'll do the calculations, I'll understand how many sales I'll be able to do it. I'll ask for a certain amount of money. So I'll be giving back you the amount of money.
No, but how do you know you're going to do that many sales?
Because in my case, it's a little bit different because I've already started doing sales. But if somebody who's going to start the business, they'll have to assume, they'll have to, define a period that, okay, in 3 months my target is 20 sales and I'm only able to do 7. So, okay, the average comes to 7. So I'll start calculating the way. Because ultimately you guys are going to ask me how much are you going to, because that is let's come to business,
No, what's your point?
My point is I wanted to know what is the rate of return, why are we talking about the story. So let's get to the thing that everybody is looking for, that is the rate of return. You guys are looking for a rate of return, let's get to the story.
How much money, how much return do you want on the money that you put in the market?
See, ideally what, as an entrepreneur, I'll say that, okay, if I do it in a bank deposit and share market, and I'll say, okay, 8% is the bank deposit, and I'll say, okay, 20% is the, so I'll talk about 25 to 30%, this is what I know. So I wanted to confirm it from the horse's mouth that yes.
So Vivek wants 25 to 30% return on the venture investment he does.
This is what I'm looking for.
That is now a session in itself. If my risk-free return, tax-free, is 8.5% on NHAI bonds, right? With Indian, the market's falling here. If I buy the Sensex at 15,000, I would at least pick companies. I'm sitting on 4-5x in 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
And they are like, names. Here you are making investments in multiple companies, hoping one of them is going to do 100x, and 4 of them are going to die. How do you model that? For those 4 people, they are not alive to tell the tale. For that one person, it's infinity because, the returns are simply don't, the Excel sheet says, hash, But from the investor's perspective, it's a portfolio. They will get 10 companies, one of them stellar returns, 2-3 लोग are still alive, कुछ मिल रहा है, बाकी 5, that's what happens in 5 years. But as I said, told him, it's an art, not a science. यहाँ पे you can't say, okay, what's the risk-free rate of return and model.
नहीं, risk-free तो हो ही नहीं सकता.
What is
तो सारी जगह पे risk.
I think I'll
Anil be the bad guy. I don't go ahead. I'll tell you my view after go ahead.
I would have said same thing what Krishna has said.
No, I don't mean to be, I just mean to be the real word. I don't want to, sugar.
No.
You're asking people for money.
Yes.
I want a lakh from you. Don't be now a jerk. Just give me a lakh. Don't ask stupid questions. Just give me a lakh. Don't ask me questions.
No, I'm not asking you questions.
No, don't tell me that. Just give me a lakh.
Let me try and also add my views to this. It's a little bit more nuanced response. There are different kind of companies out there. Let's say if you're an IT services company, and now you already have revenues, right? So what that means is the risk actually profile both in terms of your business model, which is a services model, plus the revenue piece which is getting customers. You already have done some of that.
Yes.
So I will probably be okay with a lower rate of return from someone like you than with someone who's come with an internet-based product company based on eyeballs, right? There I want to see 1,000% return potentially because I know 90% of them will actually die. Whereas with someone like you, I might say, 1 or 2 will die, other one might actually make a little bit of money, right? So I might be okay with, let's say, 50% or 100% return. I'm thinking about thin air now, alright? But in general, I think from a VC perspective or a seed fund perspective, unlike a private equity, which is a WACC, weighted average cost of capital and all the good stuff, here it is this. Put your, thumb up in the air and say, दम लगता है इस टीम के अंदर. Idea we kind of sort of makes sense, but I am very sure by the time he is done, he will do at least 3 iterations of the idea because first idea will not work. He will change it and he'll ask me for more money. So we already were kind of thinking through all that stuff and saying he asked me for 1 million, हमने already 3 डाल दिया तुम्हारे नाम पे, and eventually hopefully after 3 or 4 or 5 years, if I do a 20 to 30% across, I'll be happy. Chances are 70-80% of people actually who are putting their money will lose their money. Investors will lose their money in these ideas today. That's, I think, the batting average. And they will happily lose their money because masti kar rahe hain. They're putting money in the, what is their spare money in some of the bright ideas. That's what people are doing by and large. On the angel investment side. VCs are farak hai. VCs are hard to work.
So the three good ones that really make it big will then probably make your life, right?
That's what you're hoping. You're hoping.
And I'm pretty sure that's happening, that's why you're here right now.
Let me say it differently. So far, no one has made my life but myself.
I'm pretty sure that that's...
Time out, but let me tell you a little bit more about there also. If you ask for money, then you be humble first.
Yes.
Don't come with arrogance. Let me be very clear to you. Alright? Otherwise, be Steve Jobs, do your own shit, become the biggest company in the world, and then talk to people like that. Alright? I today have not made any single cent on any investment I made. Hopefully I will. I think I'm smart enough to pick up right ideas and right people, right kids with right attitude. Alright? Good.
It's great, Krishna, Vivek. Yeah.
Regarding reference and introduction, you have put it at the first level, so that is very important from your perspective.
See, I started, on average I am getting at least 10 plus every day. And the one which comes through reference, I make a point to go through it because somebody has already done some work on it. But one which doesn't come with referral will not get same attention. Because the odd fact of life is that we all have 8 hours at the end of the day. We may add another 8 and make it 16, but we have time constraint. So if it's with referral, anything which comes from Krishna to me, at least I ensure that, I paying attention to it. So that's why I said, attending this kind of conferences, or today, you have a power of LinkedIn, you have a power of Facebook. If you have a right reference, it makes your life easy. Otherwise, the cycle would be prolonged. Even if you have, $1 billion idea.
Are you going to be sharing this presentation?
Sorry?
Are you going to be sharing this presentation?
Should be available on Hacker. I've done several sessions. But if you can share your details, I'll email you, no problem.
Maybe list it somewhere and we give a link to this.
Maybe on the Thai side.
Yeah.
Avoid buzzwords, I already covered that. Be concrete and simple, know people you're pitching. Normally, a healthcare guy will never look at IT and IT will never look at a brick and mortar kind of stuff. So do some study before pitching to somebody. This will reduce your, efforts in getting connected to right guys. Think big or don't bother. So I think nobody is interested in lifestyle business. Unless until you can think big and you can show a vision, I think everybody would like to.
But is that clear? The lifestyle business is using as a investing professional. It means hundreds of hours of experiences. Is that clear when he says lifestyle businesses?
Is that a blanket term?
Yeah, it's a blanket term for him because he sees it every day. So I'll just make it simple. What happens is, coming back to what he said, if you make a certain return in the stock market elsewhere, right? If in such a high risk, if you have to invest in him and his idea is to change the world, you know how much risk that capital has. If that is now going to generate returns where, it's not commensurate with risk, it's not worthy of investment. So that's one. Even if I take, like what Vivek said, if you take the risk out, you're not doing an idea which will change the world. Let's say he says, I'm going to be broking apartments and I'll make 1 lakh on 1 crore. Right? If I do 10 apartments, then aapse paisa leke I'll have five college grads and do 50 apartments. The whole or do IT services in some sense, that's also a similar model. What happens is these are not scalable and these don't kind of go like this. They'll be, so in any IT services model you're lucky if you get 2x. Meaning if you build after much, kind of finishing off your life, you make like 100 crore company, likely to be bought for 200 crores. That's the nature of the business because there's not that risk. There's not that much risk as maybe Anil trying to make Facebook for India or that. So lifestyle means that if you build a business which generates cash but is not very scalable, So you get to have a nice salary. You can drive in a car. After 2 years, you can also upgrade to a bigger car. But nobody wants to buy your business. So the investors now are stuck with their 50 lakhs in you. You know, there's not much to pay dividend, and this money is not anywhere asking for dividend. So you have a nice life. So it's that business which is very good for you, but totally doesn't work for investors.
Not
Yeah.
good for the reason.
That's called the lifestyle. Lifestyle for you, not lifestyle for
Very
him.
simple.
Okay.
If you don't have aspiration to grow, that is a lifestyle business. Trust me, a Bania makes more than 4 crore close to my locality and is having best of life in the locality. Lot of cash, but he doesn't have aspiration to grow. The aspiration is with more Reliance or Big Bazaar. That's a scalable model. But for me, simple definition, you have no aspiration, neither you want to share your wealth, nor you want to
For 2 seconds, sir, I
tell me
almost
that evening 6 o'clock I have to head to bar or maybe club in society. Morning I want to have tea with my wife, take my dog out.
No, when you said lifestyle business, I got scared because I almost thought that you meant that people dealing in lifestyle products or services.
No.
And
It's basically,
This becomes a nice lifestyle for the entrepreneur business.
so you
If you give him a job in a very aggressive way,
you live for you is lifestyle business. You earn for you.
nothing to do with lifestyle in the company, I guess. Some thought if you have lifestyle as a customer.
Thanks, Krishna, correcting, but the one which don't grow, no aspiration, you just want to.
They don't die. You make lots of money. You make the 50 lakh salary for yourself, but nobody wants. And not a lot of business in India. No, a lot of us are straddled with, from entrepreneur side, just to kind of, he said don't aspire. The idea is if you are thinking of it vis-a-vis a job, it's a wonderful life. You work for yourself, like an architect, right? He works for himself. He makes money, but he doesn't go to somebody else saying, I need 1 crore from you and I'm going to do this. He doesn't do that. So then you are in a nice situation. It's a job versus a startup ke beech mein somewhere, minus the capital. So those ideas, you shouldn't even bother coming to investors is what he's saying.
Right.
But it doesn't mean it might be bad for you. But then you are not going to change the world either.
Like, give an example, how many of you know Agarwal classes, which is like a marketplace in Dadar? It died after Dr. Agarwal went out. And see what happened to Career Point. What is happening to my studio? Those guys had aspiration and they wanted to scale up. Whereas Mr. Agarwal probably was close to, in my definition, a lifestyle business. He never wanted to go out of that, the other TT. And he even didn't allow it to run after his moved. So that's a lifestyle business. The people who Bansal is a very known name. I think he made ton of money, but I doubt whether it can actually grow because it's too centric to individual. And you see what is happening to Career Point, what is happening to other boys in industry. The aspirations are too high. They want to replicate. They want to have a cyclo style of them in every city, in every look and corner. Scalability. So think big, otherwise I think don't bother, you can manage your lifestyle business. Focus on high growth and profits. These are some of the recommended structure. I think this will help you when Krishna forces you to do some, you have some query.
How important is it to go for a POC before you go and pitch to a VC?
Simple answer, if you are able to do it yourself, please do it. But in some cases, you will not be able to do it through your resources, so you sell your idea to people who believe in you and they would be willing to put money in your POC. So there are various stages of funding, but I strongly suggest, in case your own resources allow you to do POC, please do it with your money because you will create value for yourself.
Does that give you negotiating power in front of the VC?
See what Facebook did, He held it till time he wanted to hold. He wanted POC. Probably a wrong answer to your question, but try to relate. He tried to stretch it till time he was convinced that I need to take it out. So ideally, if you have resources, if you have money, do it with your own resources and then go out. It is an interest of entrepreneur. But if you are a rock star and you don't have resources, then it is my interest to help you doing the POC. So this is the recommended structure, have introduction to you and your concept and to your team, a brief one. What is the market opportunity in terms of numbers and what are the offerings available on table? What is your competition? Most of the time, every time I hear there is no competition. So at least we by virtue of our position keep seeing a lot of competitive. But there is a competition to each and every business, not here, maybe in Australia or maybe in Nicobar, I don't know, but there is a competition. So don't be under the impression there is no competition. Do your homework, and that makes your life easy. At least it allows investors to say that you are aligned with the situation. What is the market? What market you are serving? What is your business model? Then your sales, marketing plan, blah blah, all standard stuff. What is your roadmap? Current situation and financials. You want me to take up any of this point, but this should be the larger structure. I think you can do Google and find out. But have I missed anything, Krishna? Yeah.
And maybe apart from this, so can you just share some details about the entry barrier? Apart from IP, what could be an entry barrier? Apart from IP, so if I'm not into any kind of product development, I'm having my own venture. It's a good business, but whenever you get into the discussion, it always comes to the question of what's an entry barrier. Someone with a deeper pocket can always copy it and come up with a better education. So for a startup, what will
Normally people don't do that.
Sorry?
Normally people don't do that. When we say entry barrier, a guy sitting beside you, can he also replicate without any resources?
So it's not absolute. It's not like nobody can do this ever. IP means that. I mean, look, IP, nobody takes it that seriously, by the way. If you have a patent file, doesn't mean the investor is assuming great, now he'll, do this business worldwide. It doesn't work that way. But entry barrier means how easy is it for somebody else. If you are a case study for somebody else, saying, okay, so you are doing it, then you get the first customer, that's publicized. For the other guy, the hypothesis is proven true, saying there is a market for this, which you've shown the way to your, the market as a whole, to the, the vendor market or to the other startups. Like they say, oh, but I just went through his website, product, kuch bhi nahi hai. I think 10 din mein baith ke we can make it. Then you're in a weak wicket, because then, you are, so should have something which is, you should have some secret sauce, it should not be linear, saying if you wrote 10, I don't know, Ruby or JSP pages, and that your whole thing is centered around that. Nowadays it's what they call social or whatever. The idea is, if both of these guys are already on my network, it's difficult for somebody else. So, because I brought 5 of his friends, that's my entry barrier to the newer competition. Right? Now to Facebook, what is the entry barrier to the firm aspiring to compete against them? All your friends are already there, so that's the entry barrier. Is creating Facebook possible today? Yes. The stuff that they work on, a Hadoop or a Node.js, whatever they work on, is out there. They put it out saying, okay, our servers run on this, and this is open source. So you can also download it and write Facebook exactly as it is, but that's not going to get you many users, is it? So I think it's nuanced.
How are you to create entry barriers in your business? I can give an example of Flipkart. Today in India they are working very hard on back-end logistics. I think they're burning a lot of money doing best of logistics. So the experience what you have with Flipkart, possibly you will not have with anybody else. So that's the barrier they are creating. So most of the e-commerce business are same. You go online, you choose, you purchase, and product get delivered to you. But the barrier for people come too close to Flipkart is their services.
Could you extrapolate on the financials? How long do you want the business plan? How the revenue to be shown first year, second year, third year? What is the idea? And what numbers to show when there is nothing really, everything is in air?
Who's asking? I'm not good. Okay. Yeah, can you repeat?
I said in the financials, what's the projection that you show, and for what period? Because eventually, actually, everything what we are doing is all gesticulations and making some calculations, I mean designation based on calculations obviously, but what do you show and what period, 1, 3, 5 years, 10 years, what, or the exit or what?
The way you put it, as callously as you put it, the investor also takes it as much. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, how long do you want it? He also knows 1 year, 2 year, third quarter. It's also, like you said, it's a guesstimate. I don't know, Anil. But the way you put it, 10, 20, how long do you want it, is how also the investor says. No spreadsheet should be printed because you're wasting that paper. No spreadsheet should be printed in at least business model, because it's not worth the paper it's printed on, or it's not worth. So I think it's more of, when he says business model, it's not really financials. It's about, I am going to have 100 users, out of which 5 I hope to charge. To 5 I'm going to charge 30 rupees a month. So it's more of a back of the kind of envelope calculation. So if I have 100 users, 5 are going to be paid, 95 are like the free. Out for 5 I'm going to charge $1 a month. Then show that with this money, today I have 5,000 users, with this money I can get to 1 million. So already I can do it, say 1 million, ठीक है, then you have, okay, so many users, महीने का इतना हुआ, okay. Now this is also an assumption, but it's very easy for others to understand. You can model it. But what a lot of people say, which makes them look.
For me, 2 years is also good if you ask me, because the company what we fund change every 6 months. But ideally it should be 3 to 5 years, and normally I think it should cover P&L and what are your and from where, what's the source of cash flow for your 3 years.
It took a company like Amazon 7 years to break even because it was built in distribution. Now when you talked about Flipkart, suppose I have a model which I think could not become positive in the next 4 years, but surely when it becomes big, there wouldn't be any competition. How do I pitch it to a customer? How do I pitch it to a VC?
Krishna, I want to take.
Because I basically would be.
I'll give you a very simple answer. There is no good answer to this. Maybe Vivek can help me. Normally, in US, when angel fund, we fund with a perspective of staying invested from 0 to 10 years. So his appetite, because everybody knows the business which we are putting in money will not show good traction for 3 to 5 years. After that, it may start building value and then they may come out. So people like us mentally prepared for a period of 7 years.